Welcome to the Arsenal Show. We are live and we're going to be reflecting on the Liverpool game and also trying to forecast what Arsenal need to do to make a smooth transition into the replacements for Aubameyang and Lacazette. Yeah, we've touched on it a little bit previously, but this is going to be going on until we get those replacements in. So expect this show pretty much every other week to be talking about who's going to be a replacement for bloody Aubameyang and Lacazette. But first of all, of course, I'm joined by my two co-hosts. I nearly said Nathan in there. Bloody hell. Steve K. How you doing, Steve?
How you doing, Kieran?
My brain would not get away with it. It was like,
yeah, I know.
Go on, Nathan.
Yeah. Hello, everybody. Good evening and welcome.
All right. And, of course, my other co-host, Jerome Marks. How you doing, Jerome?
Yeah, fine, thanks. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, fellas.
Already, we're joined by Glenn 10. He's
Glenny
here.
boy.
What's up, fellas? How you doing, Glenn? We're good.
Right,
we're
Glenny
good.
boy.
Look. So we've got our list. I didn't put Vlahovic on there just because it seems like it's a no-go. It feels like it's a no-go for Arsenal. It feels like he wants Juventus. There's other teams in there for him. He wants Champions League football, and it's something that I just don't think Arsenal are going to go for him in the end. I think there'll be easier targets. But that's not to say, Glenn, that you can't pick him. So I want you to pick two. I want two options because there's Aubameyang and Lacazette, not just the one. And why are you picking them? What are they going to bring to Arsenal's attack? Is it going to change the way Arsenal play going forward? Let me know. All right. First of all, Jerome, seeing as you was not here on Saturday, what was your thoughts on the Liverpool game?
Well, to be honest with you, I wasn't really expecting too much going into the game because they are an amazing team.
Yeah,
a proper well-oiled machine.
Do you think people forgot how good they were?
Yeah, I think they might have looked at their last result against West Ham, seen that they're not obviously top of the league, and thought, we got a chance. But in reality, they're amazing, and go in there with this up and coming team to get a result there. Everyone would have needed to play like out of their skin. And even then, you're not sort of guaranteed a result against Liverpool, even if you play to your sort of full potential. I thought we were a bit unlucky not to go in 0-0 at half time. I mean, obviously a set piece they scored, but after that, it's a prop. It's not an uphill battle. It's like an up mountain battle, isn't it? Like you're 1-0 down against Liverpool feels like you're 5-0 down. For some reason, It just seems a lot more. And once they scored the second goal, it was sort of game. If it wasn't game over at 1-0, if it wasn't game over at 1-0, it was certainly game over at 2-0. Especially the way we conceded the second goal. And I felt sorry for the left back. I felt sorry for Tavares, to be fair, because although he made like an obvious, very bad mistake for the goal, I don't think he had a terrible game. But unfortunately, made a mistake that cost us in the end. Hard game to like analyze and stuff.
It is a very tough game. Steve, do you think that people looked at the Brighton game, looked at the West Ham game, and thought, well, if they can get a result, Arsenal can get a result? Do you think they thought it was that linear, that black and white? Which, I mean, it's not a game of conkers. It's football.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're definitely going to get some people that are going to look at those two games and think that we can go and do the same. But again, saying that I say a lot on this show is that, look, this is football, and each game's different, and you can get beat by anybody in the Premier League. Whether you're Norwich or whether you're Chelsea, on any given day. We've seen it season after season. So if people are thinking that, then it's certainly something that they should be trying to get out their minds pretty quick, because it's not the way to look at things. You're talking about Liverpool, wounded animal, if you like, got beat by West Ham, which I don't think was a disgrace to get beat by West Ham. But Liverpool, next game they're at home. It's a massive game. They've got the crowd behind them. They're one of the best teams in the world, and they showed why.
Do you think people looked at either of those games and saw that potentially there's a little bit of reasoning behind the fact that they've dropped points against those two? I think the West Ham game was off the back of a big game against Atletico Madrid 3 days before, and the Brighton game, although they only played in the Cup 3 games before and it was only against Preston, it was still kind of like it was a 2-2 draw. It wasn't a loss. It was still only a short space of time between games, yet they've had a big run up against us, a full international break, and against Man United they had a week as well. So, and where they won 5-0. So I mean, is it too easy to just look at those results and think, yeah, Arsenal were poor, they should have done better?
I think first thing you've got to look at is that Brighton and West Ham are no mugs this season. You know, they're different sides. West Ham are sitting third, and Brighton are probably having the best start of their season that they've had since they've been come back to the Premiership. So, you know, if you take that into consideration, you look at that and you think, well, yeah, they can give Liverpool a game, and like, I mean, and they did. There obviously was the little bit of, you could say that by the time they got into that West Ham game, there was a few, you know, their legs could have been tired, and, you know, Arsenal could have taken advantage of that, you know, when they come to play them like we did on Saturday. But has anybody seen their squad? I mean, they can swap and change. So if Liverpool, after the game, and we did beat them, and they was to use that excuse, it's an excuse that, you know, I wouldn't have accepted. But going on from that, they don't need that. They've got a massive squad. Going back to your question, no, because West Ham and Brighton are different kettle of fish, and they're playing really well. And on their day at this moment, they can beat anybody, and we've seen how they was against us.
Yeah. Do you think this drubbing or this loss was any different to the other losses we've had against Liverpool, or the loss that we had against Man City earlier in the season, Jerome?
God, that is a great question.
It's hard to look at a loss and think anything good of it.
It's not as if that was a 4-0 game and it could have been 1-0. I mean, let's be fair. The goalie made a couple of amazing saves for us, didn't he, Ramsdale? He had a great game. Mate, the only difference potentially, or not the only difference, but we were in the game longer than what we normally are. Normally, after 5 minutes, we've conceded a goal in those types of games, and it's normally more than 1-0, just 1-0 at half time. But it's so that I guess that's the difference. The thing is, I think what is similar to the way that we've played in those other drubbings that we've had is that we didn't have a lot of chances, really, did we? We didn't. I can't remember off the top of my head like shots at goal or shots on target, but I don't think they were too many. Maybe there were some spells where we had a couple of decent moves, but I guess using like a boxing analogy, we didn't really lay a glove on them, did we? And that's a similarity. So as much as I would like to think maybe there were more positive signs, it's the second half was very similar to how those games have been. It was just total one-way domination, wasn't it? But the first half maybe was a bit better.
What do you think? What do you think may have been the difference in that second half, Steve?
you defend from the front.
Uh-huh.
I've always learned that since I've started playing football. I'm sure it's a phrase that everybody out there listening tonight knows, that your forwards start the defending.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at games before and games, the weekend's games, it was just a non-entity. They're just so quick, and they were just surpassing our forwards. The normal work rate that I was seeing off of Lacazette wasn't there. Aubameyang just seemed like they were just walking through him, and he was just wasn't running around like he has done in previous weeks. And before you knew it, in the second half, after 10 minutes, they looked like they're tired. They looked like they was knackered.
Yeah.
And instead, where in the first half, they may have just been doing that little bit more work, and they, but in the second half, they tired and they'd stopped. And then all of a sudden, it was like a quarter of the pitch didn't exist, as far as Arsenal concerned. And Liverpool just moved into the midfield, and all of a sudden they swamped the midfield with about 5 players around there too, with Aubameyang and Lacazette sitting. They're already just behind, sort of not helping out or doing nothing. So I think tiredness came into it. I think, especially of the forward players, I think that was a massive reason why the second half they basically took over.
Do you think the reason why he took Lokonga off was a similar thing? He was losing a bit of discipline in that central midfield role. Yeah,
I mean, he got like, we all like the Congo. He's a good player, and he will be a good player. And as I said to you before, I wouldn't drop him for Saturday game, because if anything, I'm hope these type of games, teach players like the Congo lessons. It's not he hasn't came up against that before. So that's a good lesson that he's been taught.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where, in the end, he had to be taken off, if anything, so that he ain't on the pitch in case it went into even more of a drubbing, in case he got even more sort of, not embarrassed, that's the more word, but, overrun, and got made to look, but he shouldn't have looked like that, because they're world-class footballers all over the park. But I think it was down to the scoreline. You could see that his head had dropped, and I think Arteta brought him off as well, due to the fact that I can't think of a better word, but to save him that little bit more embarrassment in case it went on to like 5 or 6.
Yeah. Jerome, do you think we could have dealt with that first goal better?
I guess when it's a set piece, you always think there's probably always a chance you can. I mean, the delivery was amazing, wasn't it? You know what?
Ridiculous. That ball, unreal.
Yeah,
unreal.
I guess if you're an Arsenal player, an Arsenal coach, if someone's going to win ahead against you, you'd rather it be someone like Van Dijk rather than Mane. If their tallest player wins it, sometimes, fair enough, he's a big guy, but so that's a bit disappointing. I mean, Alexander-Arnold, I know we're not here to talk about Liverpool, but he played like he was in first gear the whole game. He didn't even look like he was like he broke sweat, did he? He was just, do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's
amazing player.
But that's like we were just talking about. That's because he was just walking past. Aubameyang wasn't even tracking him.
Yeah.
He was on his own, and he was just walking up. He was just going up. There was no stopgap. There was nothing there to stop him from, and he was just continuously picking up the ball on the halfway line. So he was having a field day. But
it was like Alexander-Arnold. He played the game like he could do whatever he wanted. Any pass he wanted to make, it was on for him. It was like he's brilliant, Alexander-Arnold. The thing is with Liverpool is they put you under so much pressure when you're on the ball. It's like like when you play Tetris and you've only got like a few lines left at the top, and you're rushing the whole time to try and get the Tetris in the gaps, but you've only got a little bit of space because you're under like a lot of time pressures. They just suffocate you, don't they, Liverpool? You've got no time on the ball at all, and any little mistake they just pounce on, and they make you make mistakes. They're
Yeah. It's funny you say that because for the Tavares goal, that's exactly what they did. So Lokonga in that first half was dropping in to the hole for Tavares to pass him that ball. That was the move that they were doing. Yeah, Lokonga didn't drop into that hole, which meant that Tavares had less options, but Gabriel still carried on. Gabriel, rather than moving into that hole, which wasn't his game, he's dropped off like he normally would have done. But because Jota has seen that Lokonga didn't drop in, Jota has moved his position to where Gabriel is. So when Tavares is passed it without looking, expecting Lokonga to be there, it's not. It's Jota on Gabriel, and then the rest is history. The rest is a goal. So that's it's the importance of being in your position, which is why I think Lokonga in the end got hooked. Whether that's discipline, whether that's a case of he was unfit or he's whatever. It seems he was made a not example of, but you carry on doing that against Liverpool. You kind of it's going to be 6s and 7s, and that's the last thing you want.
I think it showed that he's got a long way to go yet. I think.
Yeah.
And games like that is when you need like a Xhaka in with it or someone else if they buy someone, but they're the type of games that you need someone of experience in there.
Yeah, it needs. It's a game where you need discipline, and you can't switch off because Liverpool wait for your mistakes, and as soon as you make mistakes, they exploit it, and they did every time. Yeah. So it's not a game where I'm too disheartened. There are a few things you can take from it, but the most important for me thing to take from it is how we bounced back against Newcastle. One question: when did XG become more important than the EYEs?
What? You have to explain what that means, actually.
The XG, expected goals,
Oh, right, yeah.
I'm saying, when did it come better than your eyes? Because all of a sudden, I'm watching a game where I can clearly tell you Arsenal had many chances, yet you're going to tell me about some XG and we're 0.502 and this ain't good enough because this is Arteta ball. This expected goals thing, do you I'm going to point this, ask you, Steve. I'm going to ask Steve. You take any notice of it, Steve?
No, I can't. I don't even know what to. I don't even know what to say, really. I mean,
well, the thing is, what I don't understand
the only thing I know is the fact that we had Lauren Hardy up front, and they couldn't score to save their lives, and that was how it was. And but
bloody hell.
but no, seriously. I mean, you're right. It makes your eyes, isn't it? You don't. I know from watching the game what your expected goals are. If this is what it is. If you've got two donuts, I'm not saying that. I'm not going into like our players. This is just could be anybody. No. But it could be anybody. But if you've got two donuts up front and you've got midfield that ain't scoring, then you don't need someone to tell you that you've got to have expected goals. You know for a fact that we don't score in goals from midfield. Your two forward ain't scoring. Why do you need someone who's sitting in a box telling you and tapping away, saying, "Oh, your team"? I'd say, you know what you can do. I don't really know how to answer that sort of like in a. In an intelligent way, without trying to make a joke of it, because that's what it is. I think it's a joke, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't understand. Look, Arsenal had, because I had to check this out, and it was obvious. Arsenal against Liverpool, the XG is going to be pretty low. Yeah, but like we all watched the Norwich game. I think there was. I think everyone. I think it was Arsenal broke a record of how many shots on target or how many shots they've had in the game or something like that, yeah? So I checked the XG of the Norwich game. 2.5. We had 30 shots on goal, 6 on target, and 2.5 goals expected. 2 goals expected. How's that work out? Where's the maths? I mean, what's going on?
Oh my
How
God.
are they calculating this XG? Arsenal, not 2-3 weeks ago, you're talking about the Arsenal breaking forward. They're more expansive. They're getting more chances since 2016. Yet we're still expected to score 2 goals each game.
I don't know. I've never been in good with letters.
Do you?
I mean, I can't.
Do you think people watch a game? Right, they're at the stadium. They watch the game. Get the train home. Walk through the door. Speak to their wife or their husband. I can't. I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight. Can you tell me what the XG was? Like, honestly, like, what a stupid stat.
Even your missus, when you come in, your missus asks you, I always ask you at the game, was it? Yeah, what was it?
Yeah.
What's the XG today? Do you know any idea?
I'll tell you what, babe. Yeah, tell you what, babe. Yeah, we won 4-0, but the XG was 2.0, so I don't know how we got away with it. Absolute daylight robbery. Like, come on, people. Just look with your eyes. You can see whether a team's on the ascendancy, whether they're going for it, whether they're getting shots on target. Whether, like, you can just see expected goals. Just leave it alone. I'm not interested. Watch the game. All right, watch the game. All right, Steve, Aubameyang, Lacazette. I can tell you're worried. How are Arsenal meant to get into Europe this season when the two up front are not doing much? To be fair, I'm going to leave Lacazette out of this more so, but Aubameyang, like. How we expected, Lacazette's got like 6 months on his contract, so he's done it in the season. Aubameyang's got 18 months left. Who's going to buy him? Who's going to want to take a 33-year-old on 300 grand a week? Like, who's going to buy him? What are Arsenal going to do? How are they going to get into Europe with Aubameyang up top and he's not scoring goals? I think it's 4 goals in 11 games.
Well, first, Aubameyang is the next Lacazette. That's happening there. You know that, didn't you? Just going to see the contract out to the end of his contract, and then he'll leave because, like you said, no one's going to buy him. Who's going to buy him? You know, no one's going to buy him on this form. As you said, he might go to somewhere in China. He might go to, go to Dubai. You know, where the XG is a little bit lower than it is in the Premiership. And, that type of thing. But no, seriously though, like as far as Europe goes, we ain't going to get in Europe with these two if that's the way it's going to go. Aubameyang's not on form, and just like the Pepe where we said like we just is he going to go on a run of games? It's gradually he keeps on having bad games. He'll stick a goal in the back of the net, but then he won't go scoring, and then the next game he'll go missing. But yeah, I'm really worried. I'm really worried about him, because he's our man, and I think we've often said that our midfield players. I mean, they've started scoring goals now, but what happens when they're not scoring? Which is it's going to happen because they're not the ones who they're supposed to be the ones who pick up a goal every now and then. It's your 2 strikers who are meant to be smashing them in every week. What's going to happen when they're not doing it?
Well, they're not,
and they're not, and that's what. And look at Liverpool. Look at the Liverpool game. But I'm worried. I can't see anybody. No one will buy him because of that wages. He's going to be here to the end of his contract, so that'll be to the end of next season. So. When you look, Lacazette will be leaving. What Arsenal make sure that they do, whether it's in January, which is a lot harder, or whether it's in the summer.
Yeah.
Now, what we've got to do is make sure we get that marquee signing to play with Aubameyang, because he ain't going to go. He's on 200 grand a week or 300 grand a week, isn't he? So he's not going to go. But
should Arsenal just dismiss that 200 grand a week and just if bench him if you get in another player? Is it that deep that like the 200 grand a week ain't going to go nowhere? Like he's going to stay until the end of his contract.
Yeah,
so
that's a fact.
So
yeah, I mean you either got to get someone to play with him, and all of a sudden he bucks his ideas up, But you would have thought with like, you know, the players that we've got now with Emil Smith-Rowe, Odegaard, Saka, these type of players who can create things for him. It's not that they ain't creating or they can't create. You know, it's just that he's not making the runs and he's not getting in the spaces and he's not getting in the shots and he just don't seem to be bothered and he just seems to be a bit of all over the place at the moment. I mean, it's like, what was he doing against Watford? You know, he was like, what are you doing? He's taking people's goals off of them and it seems a little bit desperate. I feel a little bit sorry for him. But yeah, it's a big worry and what can you do? All you can do is hope and pray that you can get the best out of him. Try and get someone in for January to play up front with him, and hopefully he can hit it off. Because if we don't, I think you could even do that. Like you said, you could either get someone in and bench him, but then we're in the scenario of what will Kroenke do that? You know, if we've got like a player of that amount of money sitting on the bench, if Lacazette's gone. Then maybe you will, though.
Yeah. Jerome, this is kind of what I'm alluding to. Lacazette's doing everything but score. But Auba is just a different story. Are you seeing something different from Auba? Are you seeing him make the runs that he's just unlucky, or is he not doing enough to try and make goals for himself or score in general?
Aubameyang. Look, he's not the sort of player that really he relies on other people creating him chances, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And if that doesn't happen for him, then it's like he's not even there. The thing that doesn't help is that he's the captain.
Do you think that's weighing him down a bit? And even though he says it's not.
Yeah, I think it's.
I'm not sure if that's affecting his performances, but I think what I mean more by that is that would Arteta sort of bench him?
Yeah.
I don't know, because they made such a big deal out of that new contract they gave him.
Yeah.
And he's not the sort of player, is he? That he's not really a bench player, Aubameyang.
No, he's not.
I think he would bench him.
I think Arteta would bench him.
Yeah. If he's got other options, but at the moment, I don't think he does have other options.
There's no option.
Yeah,
there is no option, is there?
No, because with Lacazette, he's not playing Lacazette as a striker. It seems he's playing him just behind, and that's.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he hasn't played a lot, Lacazette. I think he scored 1 goal this season in 7 games. I mean, you'll be surprised if he reaches double figures, Lacazette. It'll be like a big surprise, won't it? I think.
Yeah,
that is your £50 million striker.
He's so deep, and the thing is, this is nothing new, though, is it, Jerome? Like,
no,
I've watched him for the last 4 seasons do that. Look, one season he had like a really good season where he's hit double figures on both assists and goals. But after that, I've not seen him. It's spits and spurts. He'd do well for a couple of months and then go missing for a couple of months. He'd score for 3 games straight and then won't score for 4. Or he'd score 2 in 1 and won't score in 3. And it's like you just want consistency.
Yeah. The trouble with our squad in terms of our strikers is we've got 2 strikers right near the end of their either career or time at Arsenal. And all the other strikers are like right at the beginning of their careers, 19, 20, 21. There's no one like in between. It's either not too old, but they're at both ends of the spectrum. And so I'll tell you what, I don't rate him. I don't think he's got a massive future at Arsenal, but I think Nketiah has looked a bit better this season when he's played. I think it'd be maybe too much water's sort of under the bridge and all that in terms of him moving on. But I think I've seen something a bit different from Nketiah this season. I don't know. I can't explain it too much, but
yeah, I agree.
I agree. Like he was giving him a chance either last season or the season before. Whether he'll give him that chance again this season, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's too late for Nketiah because for his sake, he needs a career. He needs to move on himself. I think in an ideal world, Arsenal would keep him as a third choice option, just because of this transition period with our forward players. The summer and January is massive for Arsenal going forward to bring in a striker. We're losing a player that was scoring 30+ goals a season, and a player was assisting him with those goals and scoring goals himself. So we're talking about potentially 50, 60 goals missing from the team, and that hasn't been there last season. It's been cut into a quarter, getting 20, 25 goals out of them. So it's no surprise we've dropped from 4th to 8th. The maths is there. We've lost half the goals. We've dropped down 4 positions. So,
and what with Lacazette, I can't. I mean, I do like him in that as a bloke and that, but I can't keep hearing this. He works hard. I'm sorry. I'm fed up hearing it. You know, you're not. We didn't buy you to work hard. We bought you to put the ball in the back of the net, and we're talking about Aubameyang losing pace, but he's lost pace as well. And especially when I went to the Watford game, and I was watching him, and especially watching him the weekend. To sort of counteract the fact that he loses pace, and he can't turn now, and he can't. All he ever does is fall over.
Aubameyang.
Because Lacazette, he can't. I've never seen it. He's always on the floor. He is. He's always on the floor. I've never known a so player. But every time a player will come up, he used to get the ball, he used to hold it up, which he's good at, and then he used to turn one way or turn the other way, and then he used to be gone. Now his pace has gone. He falls on the floor. I've never known a player. Surely people must notice this. I've never seen a player to fall on the floor as much. Jerome, seriously, is it? Man? Every time he's on the floor, and I'm watching it, and I'm thinking, oh, please get up! Stop! Can't you turn? Stop falling on the floor all the time. But not only that, he's rolling around like he's been hit with a bulldozer. And I'm like, but just get up. You've got your foul, great, but don't. He rolls around for 2 minutes. I just like, come on, you've got to give more than that. You give your work, great, fantastic, great, brilliant. But you need to score goals. Rolling around the floor, getting free kicks is, to me, you shouldn't be in the team. You know, I'd play Nketiah instead of Lacazette. At least I think with Aubameyang, he's got hope of scoring a goal. But
I don't know. I've lost all hope with Aubameyang scoring a goal. Like, not being funny, but that touch again, I still can't get over that touch against Watford. Like I was in a Twitter argument with someone the other day. They were talking about Arteta ball was ruined Aubameyang. I was like, what? What? Like, Aubameyang, he scored 29 goals in his first season with Arteta there. So it's probably the reason, a major factor in him getting that big bumper deal. And then they were talking about, when Emery was in, Aubameyang was top goal scorer, and when he was, I was like, so what I've got out of that statement is 4 years ago, Aubameyang was better than he is now. Shock! The geezer's 32. Like, what am I learning from this conversation we're having, mate? Like, nothing, absolutely nothing. Aubameyang is declining with age. He was a pacey goal scorer. He's lost his pace, so he's just a goal scorer. And right now, he can't hit a barn door. Like, it's just not happening for him. It's not.
Do you know one thing that I think maybe if there's a chance that Aubameyang could get back is there players, Ronaldo. Don't get me wrong, I'm not comparing, but someone like Jamie Vardy. I'm not talking about ages here. They're both very quick or fast or over a few yards, 10 yards, very quick, right? But they don't work back. They don't do nothing. Right? They don't do anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they don't do nothing. So, but with Arteta, he's because he's come from the Pep clan.
Mm-hmm.
He wants every player to work. Now he wants Aubameyang to work. He wants Lacazette to work. Is that taking away their goal scoring things? Because maybe because you wouldn't tell Ronaldo to work back. You Jamie Vardy don't work back because he's 34 and they wouldn't get the best out of him and because of that, he's still smashing the goals in, and there are others.
Yeah, I could accept that, but there's games where I've seen him not run, and there's games where, as you said earlier, he's not making the runs. There has been games that I've seen where people haven't put that through ball to him, and he's got frustrated. But that's part and parcel of being a striker. You see that every week where a player doesn't get the ball when he should have got the ball, and he gets frustrated. The difference in that with Aubameyang is he never rattles someone verbally. He will never, if someone doesn't give him the ball and he should have got the ball, he's like, and it's like, smile, Aubameyang.
So who should be captain then? I know we haven't supposed to. Who should be captain? We take the captain away from him. Get on with your game, mate. You know, don't run back. We're just going to, you stay up there. We're going to find you, and you're going to just, when you get the ball, you're going to just use your pace, and you're going to score goals. Take the captaincy away from him. I think you should take the captaincy away from me. For me, there's two people whose captaincy material. One's Granit Xhaka, and the other I don't think has been mentioned much. But I think Gabriel. I think Gabriel. Give him the captaincy.
Well, the only thing with Gabriel is it's only this season where his English has got better. So I think once that is,
he's only got to swear.
Yeah, I get that, but I mean, we've heard about different tones and different ways of speaking. Like, it's not so much him getting his message across; it's when other people are trying to get their message across. If they say something to him, is he going to take that the right way? It could be anything. I think it's a little bit too early for Gabriel. I see Johnny.
Someone says.
Johnny says Ramsdale. But again, it's
only it's goalkeepers though. I'm not.
I'd buy into that, Steve.
I'd give it to Ramsdale. I'd give it to Ramsdale.
Like, if you on the pitch, I mean, just for like vocal, you know, through a game. I'm not saying for anything else.
No, I don't.
A goalkeeper is when he in his area, he's the captain of his area, isn't he?
Yeah,
that's him. I'm the captain. You go where I. And if you know, you can see Ramsdale do it, but he can't do that. You know, in any part of the other area of the pitch.
I tell you why I don't buy into goalkeepers can't be captains, and it's purely because I was a captain most of my career. Yeah, and that being a goalkeeper, I don't see why that's any different from a striker having it. Like, the striker generally only stays in their area. As does a goalkeeper. And if I really need to get a message across, you'll hear me. If I need to relay a message where it's too far up the pitch, I'll send someone to relay that message. Like, I find it it's no different from a goalkeeper.
I suppose that's why most captains are midfield players, aren't they?
Exactly that. And generally with a midfield player, they're a bit more. I don't know. It's that level-headed. They're just. There's just something about midfielders where it just generally captains, and it's central midfielders as well, or DMs. They've got that discipline as well. Another reason why goalkeepers don't get it because they're mental. Like they're as Rohan said, they're wild, mate. So they're a bit could be a bit sketchy sometimes, and sometimes a bit of a loose cannon.
Ramsdale looks a bit nut, doesn't he? He looks like a nut.
Yeah, no, he is.
But in a nice way.
Yeah, no, he is. But I think for me, I think it's something you got to earn through the respect of players, and I think it takes time, at least a season, to have someone come in, and then a few months in they've got the captaincy. It's a bit like look, Glenn says Tierney. Now, if Tierney can finish a season where he's got 30 games under his locker, then maybe.
It's exactly that, isn't it? Because he can't stay fit for 5 games. So he could never be a captain, can he?
Yeah. Exactly that. So let's get on to who's going to be the replacements. Yeah. Now, I gave you Dejan Kulusevski, Kerem Adeyemi. Steve smiling there. Who else?
Player fighter here, Jerome.
No. We're going to hear from Jerome, but obviously want to hear your opinion on it as well, Steve. Who was the other ones? It was
Osimhen.
Oh yeah, Victor Osimhen. and Alexander Isak. So Jerome, you had a look at them. What were your thoughts on them? Were they good candidates to be replacements for Aubameyang and Lacazette?
I'll tell you what, a couple of them. Well, a couple of them, if they did come in to replace them, would be absolutely monster money. I think in Osimhen and Isak, because I think Osimhen, he only recently went for about 70 million euros.
Yeah,
to Napoli.
Yeah.
Very good profile of a player in terms of like being athletic, good size, seems to be able to sort of run the channels, but can also be like the focal point. Not like a massively technical, purely silky footballer.
Mm-hmm.
Alexander Isak's probably a bit more technical in terms of his ability with like his tricks on the ball, and he's well, they're both super highly rated, but I think Isak maybe even more so, perhaps.
Okay.
So obviously Isak's got a big old frame, isn't he? 6'4".
Mm-hmm.
But super skillful. Maybe physically might need to bulk up a bit because although he's tall, he's quite slight, isn't he?
Yeah.
So he could get sort of barged off the ball a bit, perhaps.
But I think he's had to deal with that quite a lot, and he seems to like kind of bundle through people sometimes.
Yeah,
like you think he's lost it, and all of a sudden his long arms and long legs might have flicked someone in the eye by accident. The ball's still at his feet somehow. Yeah, he's a bit of a handful.
Yeah, and with Isak, he's purely centre forward, whereas I think with Osimhen, he could possibly play wide, couldn't he? But I know he's more of a centre forward. With the guy at Juventus, Kulusevski, I don't know if he would be. I think maybe he would be more of a replacement for Pepe, perhaps, because he's not really a central striker, is he?
Yeah,
he seems to play more wide.
Forward. Yeah,
really like the look of him.
Yeah.
In terms of, like watching clips of him, and he hasn't played a lot. I think he's only started a couple of games this season for Juventus, and even last season.
Allegri don't rate him, does he?
Yeah. Also, last season I think he only started sort of half the games. And in terms of as a player, he's like Pepe, where he plays on the right, left-footed, loads of ability. I think physically he's well built for the Premier League. So he's like a wing or a wide player, but like I don't know if he's stocky, but quite well built.
Yeah, he is. He's quite well built.
He looks quality. Lovely left foot. But in terms of the best of the lot, I think maybe Steve will probably agree. In terms of who's out of those guys, the next sort of superstar really is Karim Adeyemi.
Yeah, quality player, isn't he? Amazing. Was he only 19? Already scored and got caps for Germany at Salzburg in Austria. Not the only thing that goes against him, but he's a different type of player in terms of he's a lot smaller. Yeah.
But nippy, amazing burst of speed, left-footed as well.
Yeah.
This guy is going to be one of the next big things, like no doubt at all.
All right. I'll come back to
honestly, yeah.
I'll come back to you in a second because the main question for it. Start thinking about it. Who would be your two? Yeah. Steve, what did you make of the I think I gave you 4. Yeah, I gave you 4. What did you make of the 4 that I sent you? And this is only purely based on the players that we've been linked with in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, you asked me to look at the same as Jerome's. So the ones, I mean, first of all, I've got to say all 4 of them, I'd take in an heartbeat if they was offered. I mean, they're all quality players, and it's probably just down to your personal preference. What type of players you like and who you would like in your side, and watch them play every week. Starting with Victor Osimhen, quality striker, excellent right foot.
Fractured his face the other day. Oh,
yeah, he's out for 3 months, so we're not buying him in January for a start.
Yeah, bloody hell.
Cross that one off.
Transfer value might go down though.
Exactly. Well, yeah, possibly. Yeah, Arsenal. Yeah, buy an injured player. Yeah, play him next year. Sort of thing we do. But yeah, good player, excellent right foot. I just think he looked a bit clumsy at times.
Uh-huh.
I felt he looked a lot of arms all over the place, and when he ran, it was sort of like more than hope. He drops deeper than probably what I would like from what I see.
Yeah.
What he does week to week for Napoli is another thing.
Yeah.
You know, but it just seemed to me he kept dropping deep and he kept picking the ball up in the midfield, which is not something that I want a striker to come in Arsenal to do. But the geezer's, the geezer's a killer when he gets the ball, and he's got a fantastic shot and he buries it in the back of net. So I think he's an awesome footballer, and I'd take him all day. And just if I'm being picky, it's just the fact that maybe a little bit clumsy and he drops a bit deeper than what I'd like. The same with Alexander. I think these two are very similar. I thought they were very similar. He's Isak, excellent, ability on the ball, close control. Again, I thought he was a little bit clumsy, and I felt he always seemed to be more picking the ball up deep. He wasn't a striker that
he does do that. He does do that.
I'm thinking of the type of striker that what I like. So I'm talking really of personal preference here, sort of what I like. But I'm also trying to think. Don't take away the guy's quality. Again, he's young. He's going to be something very, very special. Like Jerome said, he's got a massive price tag on his head.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a lot to prize him away. But yeah, he's good. He's good in the air because he's tall. He's dangly. I agree with the fact that he's got to put on a bit. He seems a bit slight. So if he's going to come to the Premiership, that's something that he will have to do. But there's no doubt in the quality of this kid. I've liked him for a long while, and I wouldn't be surprised. I know Liverpool are interested in as well as Arsenal. So another player he reminded me a little bit like Patson Day, very, very, very sort of similar to him as well. But yeah, a quality footballer. The other two, Dujan Kulusevski. Again, I agree with what Jerome said to part of it anyway. But I think I like this player a little bit more than what Jerome did. I really like this player. I really thought he looks good. I think he looks tough. He looks strong. He don't let people push off the ball. He's got that extra bit of pace that just pulls him away from defenders when he wants to from a standing position. All of a sudden, he's just gone. And, defenders may be able to keep up with him, but uses his strength and his weight to push him off. And, and then he's got this excellent finish, and he seems to pop up all over the pitch. I liked him. And obviously, the guy right at the top of the tree there, you got Karim Arembi. Again, God, he filled out since the last time I've seen him. I mean, he was like, look, this little kid. I've been watching him for ages, you see, because he was very small, but now he's built. He's got strength behind him. He's another one of these players. Do you know what you remind him of? Ran a bit like Aguero. One of these players getting in the box, pushing them off the ball, getting his shot away.
Well, he's had 2 seasons at Leipzig. Austrian second division team, which is like the feeder club for Salzburg. And they're just out and out, all out attack. I think they break records every year with the amount of goals they score. And he's just playing against men. I think the average age in that team of the whole squad is like 20, 22, 23. So they keep it really young. And they want to play. They want them playing against men.
Yeah. No, I mean that's again very, something I would like to see Lacazette doing. And what I did like about it, he's in the box a lot.
Yeah.
He's around that box. He's inside. Yeah. He's not playing. He don't pick the ball up from the midfield. You're always seeing him picking the ball up on the 18-yard box, or right up in the right up the defensive area of the pitch. Yeah. So I like that. That's where he does his work. That's where he's dangerous. So yeah, top drawer.
So if you could pick 2, who would you have?
If I could pick 2, I would be picking the last two. I would be picking Dusan Kulusevski and Karim Adeyemi.
But you want to be greedy and potentially swap Kulusevski for Pepe and then bring in another striker.
Yeah, I think Kulusevski can play not only there. I think he can play other. I mean, if you're going by transfer market, it seems that he can play not only there, he can play in the middle and he can play over the right.
Yeah.
I did like what Jerome said. I did, watching him in his clips, he was picking the ball up more on that left hand side.
Mm-hmm.
But pretty much like Aubameyang did when he was scoring all the goals for us. Playing on that left, cutting in, scoring goals. But obviously a massive, big, younger version. But I think he can play up further forward. I think he could.
Yeah. Jerome, who would you pick out the four?
Yeah, I think the same. I think the same as Steve. I think Karim Adeyemi is the best of the lot. And I would, Kulusevski. I'd have him over the other two as well. But like I said, I don't think he's a striker. I think he's more of a wide player.
Yeah.
So they would be my two choices.
So what kind of striker would you bring in on top of them? Say you could bring in them two. Who would you bring into the final piece of the puzzle?
Yeah, sorry, I don't have an answer at the moment. It's so hard. It's so hard.
What kind of striker would you be looking for? Someone who's big, strong in it, good in the air, that kind of a hold-up player.
This is
like
what I think maybe, yeah,
Dominic Calvert-Lewin or something.
This is what I think me and Steve, I think Simon spoke about a couple of weeks ago. Is I don't know if it's necessarily what striker would you bring in. I think it's a case of what striker or what strikers sort of fit the system that you want to play with, and who would fit with this current group of players, rather than who's a good striker, let's sign him. So that's how I think Arteta and the guys will look at it. Yeah. So it's I don't know, because obviously we've got Odegaard, and so when he plays, he'll normally play behind the striker. So they might think, who's a good striker that will fit well with Odegaard and his attributes, because like we said, Lacazette and Aubameyang, both of them will be gone in 2 seasons. So you shouldn't. Your next striker should have nothing to do with Aubameyang and Lacazette, because they won't be there. So
it needs to be like complete strikers, all rounders.
Yeah,
someone with pace.
Who's going to fit with Odegaard, Saka, Smith Rowe? That is, I think, who they'll be thinking of, and maybe they might. Obviously, they've already got like Martinelli at the club, but I think that's what they're gonna. That's how they're going to base this decision. I would love it. Adeyemi's quality. He's going to go all the way to the top. This Adeyemi, whether he'll fit into the style with the other players, I don't know. But
very Saka-like, isn't he?
Yeah, I think except for more lethal.
More meatier, more stronger. But I don't think we would bring anybody in like him in because of Saka, because he plays that right hand side. Unless Adeyemi played more centre, but I can't see that. I've not seen him play there.
Yeah, nor have I. He is more of a forward that plays off of the striker. There's plenty of food for thought. We've got plenty of time to think about it. Let us know what you think. Who you think should be taken over from Aubameyang and Lacazette? What type of striker? Who would fit into this system? How do Arsenal even get into Europe this season without Aubameyang and Lacazette firing on all cylinders? Thank you for joining us, everyone, tonight. Thank you for joining us, Johnny and Glenn 10. Who else was in there? There was Polar Knights. Polar Knights. Make sure you come over to KS1 TV on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. Thank you for joining us tonight, Steve.
You're welcome, mate. Cheers.
All right, and thank you for joining us tonight, Jerome.
Yeah, cool. It's a pleasure. Cheers.
We've got a big week coming up next week. I think. When do we play Man United? When do we play Man United?
Next week.
Second of December, is it?
Next week. And as you know, anyone that was watching on on the Saturday show, you know that we will have former Arsenal striker Nwankwo Kanu on the pod for the Man United preview. So do not miss that. Smash that like, smash that subscribe, people. Thank you for joining us. Peace out. Stay safe and wash your hands.